Hi, welcome to a brand new episode of Gadget Nation with me, Adam Carruthers. Brand new episode, of course, brand new gadgets, brand new content. I'm as excited as you are. And of course, we want to give a big shout out to the chaps here at PCLO Cafe, Jalan Ryong here in Bangsa for hosting us, as we're going to take a look at some stuff, have a little bit of fun, and hopefully get you thinking about some gadgets. So, let's start the show.
Sony Malaysia has announced the new A5100 mirrorless interchangeable lens camera, offering the same fast hybrid AF system found on the larger A6000 DSLR in a compact body. Offering a massive 179 AF points, the A5100 promises super fast autofocus and blur-free action shots. It was claimed to be the thinnest Intel Core device ever made. Surface Pro 3 is a tablet that will replace your laptop. The price starts from 2,729 ringgit Malaysia up to 6,779 ringgit Malaysia.
Tablets. You know, when we first started the show, the iPad had just come out. It was brand new and tablets really weren't a thing, but now look at this. Everybody is trying to use a tablet, but where do we go from here? Evolution, perhaps. I'll talk more about that shortly. Let me just showcase what I have to talk about firstly. Something from Samsung, as you can see right there, which is very nifty. We'll get to this later, but I have to say I'm very impressed. Why? We'll find out soon. Let's focus firstly on what we have here, which is much bigger than the Samsung that I got there. It's third time's a charm. Yeah, I guess so. It's the Microsoft Surface Pro 3. Finally, Microsoft are really knocking it out of the park. Now, the reason I mention evolution is simple. This gives the best case, if I was a lawyer, of why a hybrid of a laptop and a tablet is the way forward. This is the most prime example. This will give everything else, which is individual, either as a tablet or as a laptop or even an ultrabook, a real run for its money, because Microsoft have finally listened to what the consumers have to say, and they fixed so many things. And everything about it has really come from the ground up to be fixed tremendously. From the cover itself, the TypePad cover, to just the hinge, the most basic of basic things to make this work, like the hinge here, has been improved tremendously. So obviously, lots of things to love about it. So let me just disconnect it firstly from its type cover. As you can see right there, it's extremely slim. I mean, it's slimmer than the Lumia series of phones out there, and it's really done a very good job of looking very sleek. This new magnesium body, it feels very nice in your hands. It feels just about right, and it's bigger than before. The aspect ratio is also different from something like the iPad, etc. So it adds something completely different. As you can see right there, it has a very crisp, very clean look. Now, the hinge itself here, it's a lot stiffer than before, but you can see exactly how flexible it is. As you can see, I can move it, I can almost have it straight up, or I can have it slightly arched like that. It was a big point for a lot of consumers out there in terms of the lack of flexibility, but now at least we can move it around for how we want. If you want it onto your lap like such, if you want it a bit more flat, etc. Entirely up to you. And you see how stiff this is right there. Very strong magnet, very cool. I'm gonna do that one more time just so you can see. I love doing this. Here we go. It's got a nice solid feel about it. And obviously that goes a long way in how you experience it. Now, one thing I didn't show you was the stylus, which has also been redone right here. And I have to say, I'm very happy with it. I mean, this button up here at the top will instantly bring up the note feature, right? Such. See, it pops up. I'm not connected to the internet right now, so I can't fully show you exactly how to use it, but it does have its job, and it's done very well indeed. So I can't talk too much about the specs and features on this, simply because it varies. That also includes the price point. Now, the most basic of basics is i3, and it'll only come with 64 GB of memory, but you can go all the way up to half a tera. which is a lot, obviously. I mean, solid state drive, and sadly, also the price does go up tremendously as well. When I say this is expensive, it can run very expensive. We're talking anywhere from just over 2,000 ringgit all the way up to about 7,000 ringgit. Now, another way of thinking about this is it is a hybrid. So you're getting not only, say, a tablet, but also a hybrid. Now, Microsoft have done a lot to compare this to, say, the MacBook Air, effectively, and the iPad Air. So it's a combination of the two, and it does lack in some areas. For example, the battery life isn't great. They're saying 9 hours, but if you were to watch videos on this and put the brightness up pretty high, you're probably gonna get maybe 4 hours, depending on the brightness, maybe 5 hours. So it's not as great as it should be. I mean, if you're really gonna put this in as a replacement for a laptop, that's a battery life comparable more with an Ultrabook than anything else. So a bit of a letdown in that aspect. Saying that, however, I mean, it is two devices in one, but also it does get a bit hot when you're using it. It's scorching, actually, so something to look out for as well. But make no mistakes about it. I mean, everything that I had issues with before with the Surface has been fixed. I mean, the type cover is much better. The button layout is better. It feels a little bit deeper. It feels a little bit more usable than what I've seen before. Now, I'm not typing anything except the search bar there, but just doing like such feels a lot better than what we've experienced before. It's got this plush finishing as well. It'll come in 5 different covers. So I just feel that if you're gonna promote it as a hybrid, you should sell both as one, as opposed to making the cover itself optional. But maybe I'm nitpicking a little bit, because this really is a great little device, and finally they've got it correct. I mean, there's still some flaws with it. The battery life for one thing, the heat, if it gets quite hot, is another issue, but they're definitely on the right path. Now let's move on to Samsung. What we have right here is the Samsung Galaxy Tab S 8.4. Now, I should add that there also is a slightly bigger model, the 10.4, but we are just looking at this one. However, it can be said that, well, effectively they are the same model, it's just one is bigger than the other. So the only two differences or key differences would be the size of the battery, comparing this to its big brother, or also the pixel density on the screen. Obviously this is a bit smaller, so it's going to pack a bit more of a punch. However, everything else is pretty much the same. So you can take this also as a review of its big brother, but I'm really liking this. This is a very, 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 very nice and powerful device. I mean, it's very thin, as you can see right there. I mean, it's super thin. It's even thinner than the iPhone 5S. And it just feels nice in your hands. Not too heavy, but it's not too light either. You can hold it for quite a while. Now, if you look at the back of it and the finishing, etc., it kind of is, well, it's a bit like the S5, really. It feels like a ginormous Samsung Galaxy S5, but it's sitting here in my hands. I'm not going to complain about that. Perhaps some people aren't a big fan of this goldish finish around the sides, etc., but I don't mind it too much. I quite like it. It's a nice variation, although it doesn't have that quite unibody feel of the iPad, which it's still in its class of its own in terms of the aesthetic value. This is packing quite a punch. I mean, the screen itself is absolutely marvelous. I mean, it's 360 pixels per inch. I mean, it is great to look at. If you've got some nice resolution or high resolution videos, it's going to look brilliant on this device, I can tell you that much. If you're going to stream some HD videos on YouTube, etc., you will not be complaining whatsoever. It has done a fantastic job. Now, I was just talking about the Surface and its poor battery life. You can contrast this quite starkly with the Samsung, because the Samsung has got a great battery life. I mean, you can use it fully charged in the morning, go out in the day and do your stuff on the tablet, etc., come back maybe about 60% left, depending on how you use it. But it's apples and oranges between the two. I mean, the battery life in this really astounded me. I think it did a fantastic job in every aspect. Now, the only thing is, sometimes in comparison more to the Apple line of tablets that we have now, at times it just feels like Android is square peg in a round hole in terms of the apps, etc. I still feel there's not enough dedicated tablet apps, although I'm hearing that Samsung are working quite keenly with some vendors to really rectify this. So at least they're aware of the problem, at least they're doing something about it, because there's so much power underneath this. I mean, the iPad Air is using 1 GB of RAM. This is using 3 GB of RAM. I mean, there's a lot of power underneath there, and 4 1.3 gigahertz cores as well. I mean, you're not going to struggle at all when using this. I mean, this will get everything that you need done. And like I said, it's Big Brother, the one which is slightly over 10 inches, will also do the same thing. And that too has a fantastic battery life. I mean, it's great. And they're both great, great devices. A real argument to switch to an Android tablet right here. Honestly, I think that both devices are absolutely fantastic. I think that Samsung have knocked it out of the park with the most legitimate reason for anybody out there who's using an iPad to switch over to something which is Android-based. I mean, a couple of things holding it back would be the fact that it is running on Android. I know that sounds like it's contradicting myself. It's just that they still need to really get some full-on dedicated tablet apps. Then I really think it'll do amazing, because everything else is great with this device. I mean, perhaps the body is not quite as good as something from the iPad, but it still does a very good job. So many pros, like having the micro SD slot here, expandable storage, etc. It's a great point. 9 hours battery life, and it really does go for 9 hours. The only thing perhaps holding it back will be the camera. It's not great. It's really not great. You're not going to do much. You'll just get the basics done, so don't rely on that too much. Perhaps just basic, very well lit pictures for this bad boy right here. So very, very good job from Samsung, and also to Microsoft with the Surface Pro 3. I mean, when I said that third time's a charm, I really did mean third time is a charm. This is a great device. It is the perfect advert for a hybrid, a laptop and a tablet rolled into one. I mean, really good job. Many things to like about it. Just that the battery life is not great, and well, it does get a little bit hot. Still some things which Microsoft could fix, but it is definitely on the rosy side of things. There's a lot to love about both of these devices right here. So do check them out. Just remember the price point. This one is less than 2,000 ringgit, the 8.4 that is, but this, well, what can I say? It goes all the way up to 7,000 ringgit. So be careful, be very careful when you're looking at it. Don't be too put off by the price, but if you can justify it in your life, it's definitely worth checking out. And both these devices, great alternatives to what Apple has to currently offer. Although, being Apple, we'll have to wait and see exactly what's on the horizon for them, because they could come out with something that will blow both of these out of the water. But for now, some great alternatives.